So he's come out, and we know he's been talking about, I'm doing 10 movies, and then I'm done, right?
Yeah, because he's an artist.
I'm an artist.
He's got a script.
I can't do this. Now he's saying...
No.
Okay, look, this is what he's saying now. There's a reason, really, why I'm only doing one more movie. And why I'm stopping at 10. It's because it's the industry, Hollywood. It's terrible now.
Mm-hmm.
He wants everything to be theater movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's got some problems with
we know that.
The industry these days. So Quentin Tarantino blasts streaming movies. It's almost like they don't exist. So let me find where his quote
I don't
is.
disagree with this.
Right. So
I think a lot of movies that come out on streaming are it is hard for them to get the recognition. Some of them that are really good that they deserve.
Will you read this for us, Wyatt? Let's read what he has to say, and then we'll discuss.
He says, I like the idea of giving it my all for 30 years and then saying, okay, that's enough. So, number one, he's...
he's not giving it all.
What are you talking about? In his movies, yeah.
Yes, his films.
He's casted the biggest names. He's worked hard to get...
He's done with films, but he said on multiple podcasts, I've got TV show scripts lined up. I've got a whole show I've already wrote that we're going to work on once I'm done with my movies.
Yeah, he's what's the word I'm looking for?
It's
idealizing. Hold on, he's idealizing his own reputation.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of giving it my all and then saying, okay, that's enough, right? It's all in his head of who he is and what his movies are.
That's like...
it's pretentious, but that's artists.
That's like him saying, okay...
Can we finish what he has to say before we keep going?
He told Deadline film columnist Baz Big McBoy. Big boy.
Bam Big Boy.
Bammy Gaboy. That's unfortunate, man. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Baz.
I'm sorry, Baz. I didn't...
But Big Boy.
Big boy.
All right, keep going.
And I don't like working to diminishing returns. And I mean, now is a good time because I mean, what even is a motion picture anyway anymore? It's just something that they show on Apple. That would be diminishing returns.
He keeps going.
Again, not wrong, but also I don't think correct. Things change. It's how the world works. No, we're not pulling carriages with horses anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're driving cars. We're not driving as many gasoline cars anymore. The world changes, and I get what he's saying. He wants to be immortalized with his films. And not being like, well, now I'm putting stuff on streaming.
So, the past couple months,
okay,
I was like, I'm gonna Quentin Tarantino watch all his movies from the beginning to the end, and we did that. I finished watching all 9 movies so far, waiting for the last one. And before, I said Quentin was a pretentious director, and I'm still saying that his movies are good, but he has this pretentiousness to him, and he has said on multiple occasions, basically nothing in the 80s was good.
Mm-hmm.
There was a ton of great movies that came out in the 80s.
Right.
He bashes the 80s in saying that everything was goofy, but yes, there was goofy stuff, but there was some good films that came out of the 80s.
And I understand the streaming thing. Good directors understand that the movies are made for theaters, and the best movies are made for people to see in theaters. But I think that things are going to change to the point where good movies can come out on streaming services. We've seen it. What was that Jake Gyllenhaal movie that came out? That was really good.
The Guilty.
Yeah, but
was that it?
But it's not it didn't get the kind of recognition that something like Oppenheimer is going to get.
Right.
Or Barbie. Or even The Machine.
Maybe. So he goes on to say, I mean, I'm not picking on anybody, but apparently for Netflix, Ryan Reynolds has made $50 million on his movie and $50 million on that movie and $50 million on the next one and all that. And then he says, well, good for him, that he's making so much money, but those movies essentially don't exist in the zeitgeist. It's almost like they don't exist. So what he wants is what he's gotten him for himself. He wants his movies to have as much, have more reputation than he does. You know, Netflix is paying for Ryan Reynolds.
But what are those movies called?
I don't know. I know there's one called Nice Guy.
What are they called? You know,
The Adam Project.
I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
But when you say a Quentin Tarantino movie, people are like, freaking Pulp Fiction, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
They know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Django.
Yeah. I get it. Having a movies like Jurassic Park. Everybody knows what the movie is.
Yeah,
Everybody's seen it a million times. Those are the kind of movies that he sees as movies.
Mm-hmm.
Movies that are pulp, that just get lost in the sauce. Right? But the issue with the statement is it was going on when he was making movies, you know, when he first started too.
Yeah, it's
been going on in the 80s, it's in the 90s, in the 2000s. How many thousands of movies have been made that nobody knows what they are and sit in bargain bins. It's like that, and it's going to be like that. It's always going to be people experimenting to create something.
Yes.
And if it's trash, it gets thrown in the trash. And if it's good, people will elevate it.
See, Quentin had a specific, and I don't know exactly his backstory, but I understand Quentin had a specific uniqueness to his situation. He had a few connections with Hollywood. So when he decided he wanted to make movies, it took him forever. Like his first two movies, Pulp Fiction being his second, took him a long time to get those movies made. Like he took his time with it. But he also had connections in the industry and was able to call people, call agents, and he found a way to get these superstars on his first couple movies. Mm-hmm. So his movies were an instant success. People like Bruce Willis, John Travolta, Sam Jackson.
He did a couple things before.
Yeah, he did a couple things.
I think he only did one movie before Pulp Fiction.
How much of the movies that he made were his artistry and the way that he filmed and the way that his actors communicated, and how much was it? Oh, these big names in Hollywood right now.
I've heard him
sold the movie.
I've heard him describe it's so important that you have stars in the role.
Yeah,
he wasn't going to make a movie with any major with any new kind of going to be a breakout actor. He doesn't want to do that, and I don't think he's ever really done that. Not putting in his front leads, because he's always said if you want to sell a movie, you got to put a star in it. Right?
But you know, a lot of people talk about it's not his actors, it's his dialogue, it's his filming. It's not his dialogue. Dialogue really comes down to how the actors deliver. Right. And filming, his filming is nothing super special. It's just non-traditional.
True.
It is all these things combined. He really tried his hardest to make his movies memorable,
which he did.
People, you know, you can quote all sorts of scenes from Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs, if that's one of your favorites, or, you know, Inglourious Bastards, whatever. Or even the movies I've only seen once, I can probably think of a line to quote. They are memorable. So, you know, creating memorable movies is what he wants. It's what I want. Mm-hmm. But I don't think there's ever going to be a time when people aren't making schlock.
Yeah, and back in his starting days in the 80s and 90s, it was just distribution. The thing is, streaming is just distribution. The movies that he's saying it didn't used to be that way. Yes, it did. It's just they didn't have the internet to put it on. They just never got put onto, 100 or 1,000 VHS tapes. They just never made it to hard copy.
And maybe he doesn't want to put in the effort to look for the good movies.
He probably doesn't.
Maybe, and that's on him.
Or maybe he's watched a couple and they just frustrated him so much that he just goes on these.
Quentin turns on a movie and he's like, "This isn't my movie.
Right?
I can't enjoy this. This isn't one of the ones I made.
It's not how I think."
Yeah.
Didn't have enough shots of feet in that film.
I bet he loved that Barbie trailer.
He's probably like, now this is a film.
This is film. This is a movie right here. He's like, Ryan Gosling, fine, whatever. But look at those feet.
Look at them feet. Open a trailer with feet.
They showed them feet several times.
Someone asked him what he's going to be doing after he's done with the films. And he's like, well, I just got married and I have a kid now that's like 3 years old. How does he have a kid?
It's kind of old.
How does he have a
Getting
kid
up there.
that's like young? I don't know if his kid's
What do you
3
mean?
years.
Men do it all the time.
Well, yes,
How does
I
he
know.
have a kid? Are you saying he's ugly?
Yes.
she's
Would you stop looking down your big ass nose at people?